What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for you rascals and rapscallions out there. Now, I gotta say, the past couple days have been kind of funny with the release of Halloween Ends. You guys seen my opinion in my latest review. I absolutely hated the film, and I see a lot of people feel the same way as me, but I see a lot of people actually like the film. And I've just gotta say, that's okay. Definitely okay. Like what you like. If anything, I'm just glad more people are watching horror movies. But speaking of Halloween movies that don't include Michael Myers that suck, we're going to talk about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. Now, I say this movie sucks because that is the general consensus. So I guess this is kind of opposite day when it comes to my opinion on Halloween Ends, because I absolutely love this movie, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I guess when this first got released, it was intended that John Carpenter didn't want Michael Myers to continue. He didn't even want to do part two, apparently. So when Michael Myers dies in the fire in the hospital, part two, that was supposed to be it. And this was supposed to be the direction that the franchise took, which would have made Halloween Ends okay if that's where they would have went with the 13 films. But with that being said, they tried to make this more like an anthology film series, which would be pretty cool if somebody did that these days. Anyways, with that being said, this movie does not have Michael Myers in it, and it has nothing to do with him at all. It's completely different. But what this movie does have is motherfucking Tom Atkins. Now, when it comes to people disliking this movie, I mean, I'm gonna relate this to Halloween Ends a lot, I guess, just because it's kind of topical. People got mad at this film because it didn't have Michael Myers in it. And that was a big gripe, that Michael Myers was barely in Halloween Ends. But you guys, this was only the third movie. We're not talking the 13th movie, you know. And this one has seemed to age pretty well. People have come to accept it. And I'm one of them. This movie was absolutely a blast. I haven't watched this since I was a little kid, really. Which is funny to even think about that I was watching some of these movies as a kid. But anyways, once again, this is from the Scream Factory Edition 4K sets. Don't mind me, I can't speak. I just woke up not too long ago. I gotta get ready for a wedding here any minute. But yeah, this is when they release 1 through 5 of the Halloween 4Ks through Scream Factory. And I think, I'm not a big fan of all these covers, the artwork they did, but this is definitely the coolest one. Now I'll let you guys look at the back. So a pretty good amount of special features. Tom Atkins right there. And then, once again, what I like to do, I like to put the original artwork on the reversible slip. So just how beautiful does that look? Now, I understand if people aren't physical media collectors, but you got to admit, this hard case, it's a pretty beautiful thing. Pretty good artwork. But anyways, back to the movie. So, like I said, this movie has absolutely like nothing to do with Michael Myers. It's like its own thing. They were trying to do their own spooky stories, and this honestly isn't even really a horror movie necessarily. I would consider it more of a thriller, and I'm not really too much into thrillers or investigation kind of movies. Just not my thing. But Tom Atkins, any Tom Atkins movie, I absolutely love this dude. He is the ultimate badass when it comes to the horror genre. So this movie pretty much follows around Tom Atkins. I'm going to keep calling him Tom Atkins, even though I think his name is Daniel Callis, but Tom Atkins. He is a doctor who enjoys his booze. He's boozing it up the whole movie. And he's kind of, I think he's going through a divorce, got a couple kids, and he's trying to like make things right with his kids and whatnot. But this all changes when he gets a guy in the hospital room who has had a heart attack or attacked. I forget how the guy even died. He had a heart attack and got brought in, and he had this orange pumpkin mask, and he was saying they're gonna come after you, or they're after us, and he was like passed out, and then this like cyborg looking guy in a suit comes in and kills the guy in his hospital bed while Tom Atkins is in the back taking a nap on the couch because he drank too much. And this like guy takes his fingers into this patient's eyes and like rips his skull, smashes his skull with his hand. It's pretty disgusting, pretty nasty stuff. I've never really seen a kill like that in a horror movie before. And then they chase the guy out, Tom Atkins and the nurse and the staff and all that. The guy sits in his car, pours gasoline all over himself, and lights himself on fire, and this car blows up. That shit was fucking crazy. Like I said, I haven't seen this movie in so long. That really threw me off. So, the cops come, everything, all this, and they're trying to get an autopsy on this fucking guy out in the car. and they can't really get any answers about what really happened. And Tom Atkins starts to get suspicious. Now this is where the guy who got killed, who was a owner of like a toy shop, his daughter Allie shows up trying to get answers. This young girl Allie, and she's talking to Tom Atkins, and he doesn't know shit. He plays it off cool, but he's also pretty curious. Like, just there's a feeling in the air that there's more to this. You know what I mean? She finds him at a bar and tells him she needs to talk, and takes him back to her dad's like toy shop, and he logs like everything he does in this paper, and it says like he went up to this toy shop to get more of these masks, the silver shamrock masks, and she just has an odd suspicion about it. So they team up, and they take off up. I don't know where this movie takes place at, but into this little city that has the warehouse, the plant that makes these masks, the silver shamrock plant. And then they just kind of go on an investigation at that point, and the rest of the movie is pretty much just Tom Atkins sneaking around trying to figure shit out. And I don't know, this one's just pretty fun. I gotta say, the silver shamrock masks, it's no secret here. Everyone knows where this goes. And if you haven't heard, the company is, I mean, if you haven't heard of this movie, I'll say, all my reviews are pretty much spoilers, but it's run by this guy, Mr. Cochran, which this was made in the early 80s. I can't help but think about Johnny Cochran, the O.J. Simpson trial. I think that's just product of the time I grew up, but Mr. Cochran is also an evil man. And it turns out he's designing all these masks with energy from, what the fuck was it that they stole? It was like the big rocks, hedge. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Stonehenge or something like that. Those big rocks or whatever. And apparently they're like taking particles off of that and putting them into these little like buttons that go onto these masks, and it creates like voodoo witchcraft or some shit. So they keep playing this really obnoxious commercial for these masks. I'm not going to sing it for you guys. Definitely not. But you guys know the song if you've seen this. And it's telling all these kids, put on your masks at this time on Halloween night for the giveaway, and you could win a prize. And the point of like the Stonehenge deal with the masks and the witchcraft is when these kids watch this at a certain time on Halloween night, it's going to detonate all these masks and kill all the children in America for reasons that were never explained. They're just going to kill all the kids for the fuck of it, this evil plan. And it's up to Tom Atkins to save the day. And yeah, he definitely kicks some fucking ass in this movie. A lot of fun. He also ends up having like a love interest with this girl Allie, which is a really bizarre moment where they get this hotel room to get some rest before they investigate the next day, and he's like, "There's only one bed in here. I can sleep in the car." She goes, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he just looks at her, and then they just start fucking, just like that, just for Tom Atkins to say, "I got to go out and get more booze," just to come back and they're fucking again. When he's out, he runs into this bum who tells him all about Cochran and his evil plans. And him and Allie go back on the investigation the next day. They make it to the plant. And I let me just say too, I talked to Nick Baker about this on the VHS Days podcast. He has a high opinion about like stuff that doesn't age well, that doesn't sit right with him, which there's a lot of stuff in this film that definitely don't. Like, Tom Atkins is sexually harassing quite a few women in this movie, but at the same time, like, every single woman wants Tom Atkins. And I remember hearing somebody talk about, I think, Night of the Creeps or something. It was a Tom Atkins film where they were like, how is it realistic that all these girls are going for Tom Atkins? And I know I sound like a hypocrite maybe for shitting on Corey Covington about the same shit, but you guys, this is motherfucking Tom Atkins. He's a fucking badass, dude. That mustache? Come on, he's going to get all the women, you know? So he's hooking up with this girl. He's hooking up with everyone. They make it to the plant, and they're doing like this walkthrough, more of an investigation. And they eventually find out what's going on, and Allie and him both get separated and tied up, and we have to go into our final little battle here. And I know I'm skipping a lot, which I'll go back, like a lot of the kills. I'll just talk about them right now. This movie has some pretty cool kills in it. Like in the beginning, the homeless guy who snitched or whatever on Cochran, I believe, he ends up getting his fucking head ripped off, completely torn off his shoulders, the gore and everything, by like this by one of the henchmen, which I'll say now are a bunch of cyborgs, man. And actually the guy who rips the dude's heads off is the guy who played Michael Myers in Part 2. So there's a fun fact. But yeah, we also find out soon, I should mention, like I said, these are cyborgs. At one point, Tom Atkins starts fighting one of these cyborgs, and he punches him in the stomach, and It's funny, I just watched Street Trash and it didn't gross me out, but this kind of grossed me out, like this yellow custardy shit that's on his hand when he pulls his fist out. Tom Atkins' reaction, like, what the fuck? I love it. So yeah, a bunch of cyborgs are the henchmen for Mr. Cochran for his evil intentions. Another cool kill in this, there's a woman that they meet at the hotel or motel, and she's playing with the shamrock button, and this thing like blows up and like rips her gums all the way up, and her mouth is all separated. It's fucking disgusting. Like, it makes you think like what would happen maybe to someone like that's vaping, like the pen's gonna blow up eventually or something. But yeah, that was pretty gnarly right there. Yeah, some pretty nasty stuff. I feel like I'm forgetting one of the better kills. Lots of face crushes and shit, but Tom Atkins ends up getting away. He kicks his feet into this TV while this is like the most unrealistic way to escape, which the whole end of this movie is pretty unrealistic, but fun. He kicks this TV while his hands are tied up and takes like a broken piece of glass and cuts a little bit of his, the rope off that's tying him up. He takes this skull shamrock mask they put over his head and he like throws it up. It has like no way to follow through, and this shit goes all the way to the ceiling, lands perfectly on the camera. Like what a throw, what an escape. And then he climbs up into the air ducts to get away. So this is pretty much just like, if Die Hard's a Christmas movie, this is pretty much the Halloween Die Hard. I made a joke about, I thought it was funny. This is definitely not as good as Die Hard, but still a lot of fun. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, the other kill I was probably thinking about is at one point when they explain this all to Tom Atkins before they tie him up and all this shit, they have another family that was like the toy salesman, the top toy salesman of these masks brings his family for a tour. And they put them like in this fake living room, lock them in there like an observation room. They tell them, want you to give us some notes on these new commercials. And they actually test the commercial that's going to come out at midnight on this kid that's wearing the mask. And the whole kid's head fucking just, he crushes his head and he's like, his brain's scrambling. He drops to the ground. His mom freaks out. She has like a heart attack seeing what's happening. This kid just has all these bugs and snakes and tarantulas crawling out of his head that just melted. So 2 movies in a row, guys, they killed a fucking kid. What's going on here? But that was crazy. It's any era, it's insane to see a kid get killed in a movie. But yeah, that was wild. His dad ends up dying too, so that's probably the most iconic death. The kid with the mask. It's kind of back in the whole plot of the movie. But anyways, back to the John McClane of Halloween 3. Tom Atkins is crawling through this vent. He gets out, start trying to fight after he gets Allie out, and this is like the most unrealistic sneaking around, like such comical sneaking around by Tom Atkins this whole time. He's literally like stereotypical, like tippy tone, and then at one point they take this rack full of masks and they're just like walking behind it, wheeling it by. Like, who the fuck wouldn't notice that? But not everything needs to make sense in movies, and I love that. It's just it's so funny to me. He sneaks up in the most unrealistic way behind all these doctors at one point and like switches the TV settings because they're kind of like in the science lab of the warehouse kind of, and nobody notices he's behind them. He puts on the commercial and none of these doctors can think to like get to the mechanic board and just turn it off. They're all like, what's going on? And him and Allie go up these rafters and dump a box of like the magnets, the buttons onto all these robots, and they all like electrocute and die. He kills them all. Like a very unrealistic and anticlimactic kind of like way to kill off all these people. But pretty fun nonetheless. Mr. Cochran just looks up at them and gives them a golf clap. Well played. You got us. So then Tom Atkins takes off, and this is something I hate, just that his girl Allie turns into a fucking robot while they're driving down the road, starts strangling him, and like 3 or 4 unnecessary like comebacks of him like fighting her. Like he takes her head off, rips her arm off, and then he's like, oh. Then the body comes after him, fights it off, gets in the car, he's like, shit. Then the arm comes in, starts choking him, he throws it away, finally takes off. It's just overkill in a fun way. I'm just such a fan of Tom Atkins. I think he can pretty much pull anything off. So maybe I'm a little bit biased in this movie review too, just because I love his shit so much. Then the final scene is actually pretty wild. He like shows up to this gas station that was in the very beginning of the film, and he's calling like the TV stations or someone that has authority, like, turn it off, they're all gonna die. And he's just screaming, and then these little kids come in, they're looking at this TV in the gas station because they're trick-or-treating. Back when you could go to gas stations and trick-or-treat too, but they go to one station, the kid turns the channel, this broadcast has been turned off, goes to the next one, the commercial's playing, and then this has been turned off. Goes to the next one, it keeps playing, and it just keeps playing, and Tom Atkins is just screaming, turn it off, turn it off. Pretty dramatic acting, honestly. And that's it. The movie ends, the credits roll, so we don't know if all the kids in America got killed or not. Cliffhanger. So that's pretty funny. It's almost like a rib or some shit, you know. But yeah, I ranted on longer than I thought I would with this film right here. I just really, really enjoyed this one. And honestly, if you want to pick up 1 through 5 on 4K, any one of these, they're not in a bundle like 6 through 8 are. And I believe these are pretty cheap right now, like almost $20 for a 4K with all these special features. That's a great deal. Now, this one is one I would suggest for anyone on Halloween. It's not going to have Michael Myers, obviously, but it's just got the tone and the tempo of Halloween. And it might not have Michael Myers, but it has Tommy Lee Wallace, who wrote and directed it, who was a big partner of John Carpenter. And this is produced by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter with music by John Carpenter. So the score is unbelievable. This is shot well. It looks like Halloween the whole time. It's got this beautiful fall vibe. There's this great scene where it shows all the kids around the world with these masks on. All the kids around America, I should say, trick-or-treating. They got some pretty cool shots. Yeah, just cinematography is on point with this. I loved it. Yeah, Tom Atkins is amazing. I like all the characters, really. I like Allie a lot. I guess if I had to give any gripes, I don't care for these cyborgs, these robots too much. The antagonist, it's okay, like for what it is. The positives outweigh the negatives, I guess, in a film like this. And the ending is just a little wild for me. It's a little all over the place, but fun. This is a very, very fun movie, so I would highly suggest picking this one up. Way better than Halloween Ends, that piece of trash. I thought about that too, to give more thought on Halloween Ends. I almost made a second video ranting on more and more about it. I was going to say, I don't think it's bad in Halloween Ends that they tried something different. But when you have a legacy like Halloween does with the 13th movie, and you're going to have Michael Myers uncharacteristic as much as he was in that film, that's kind of like a big part of it too. Like, I don't know, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and it fucking rules. So pick this one up, guys. Other than that, I got to get ready for this wedding. I'm supposed to be ready to leave in 15 minutes, so I got to go shave and take a shower and get my shit ready. So, yeah, let me know in the comments if you have ever seen this movie, Halloween Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. Let me know what's your favorite Halloween movie of all time in the franchise. Mine would have to obviously be the original, followed up by number 2, and I'll leave it at that. Maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe. I don't know. Other than that, hopefully everybody's watching some good spooky movies, having a good time during this holiday season. Other than that, Blood Guts Gore. I'll check you guys next time.